Well, Kara, thank you so much for being here with me on the Entrepreneurial Success Podcast. I'm really thrilled to have you here, and thank you so much for taking the time to come and share some really, really good insight with the audience. However, why don't I hand over to you so you can introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Great. Thank you so much for having me, Henriette. So my name is Kara, and my business is Kara Renninger Consulting. And what I do is help hardworking business owners laser focus their strategy so they can scale their business to multi six figures and beyond. That's
I
really what I
know.
do.
And that's what we all want, isn't it? You know, if we're running a business, we want to scale our businesses, and there's so many ways to do it. But I think this is why I'm so excited to have you here in order to talk to us a little bit about that. But before we jump into all of that good stuff, tell us a little bit about you. How did you become a coach in order to help people with their businesses? What kind of brought that on for you?
Yeah, I think I have an interesting story, or maybe one like other people. I never really planned to be a coach, and I was really always the behind the scenes person for people, running other people's businesses and making many people millions of dollars. And I always loved doing that, and I was never the front person. And then over the years, I ended up losing my job over COVID for the company I was working for. They decided they didn't want to stay open anymore. And so it was like, oh, what's next? And I just kept getting those nudges from the universe and things just kept aligning. People were reaching out to me, hey, my friend needs business coaching. And so it just happened really organically. It was while I was applying for jobs and thinking, what do I want to do here? And I've really been coaching the entrepreneurs, even if I worked with them as an employee or on the consulting front, I've been coaching them for so long. And so it just was such a natural progression for me. Not to say that it's easy to have your own business and to be the front person. There's definitely some challenges that I've worked through for myself in that way, but I've always been a person who's been passionate to help other people. And I really have a spot in my heart for creative people. I think that being creative is such a gift. And often what comes with that often is people a little less organized, a little more struggle to be strategic and to follow plans. And creative people tend to be a little bit more excited about their ideas and ready to just go with it. And so what I've really done in my coaching is honed in on how to help people get really strategic, but still feel in alignment with themselves. Don't try to be something you're not. Don't try to follow someone else's system. Just try to create something that works perfectly for you so that you can create what you've really dreamed of for your business and start to get to a new level for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's the thing that I've come across as well. Being a creative myself, I will say, oh my gosh, those ideas just keep on coming, and you get so confused. And it's true, only once I put a strategy in place with my business, then I saw a difference. And it just felt like it's one of those things that just snowballed. So it is true that you can be as creative as you want to be, you can be a business owner, but once you have that strategy, it is the thing that's really guiding you, but also it's keeping you focused, which is what we want to talk about today in particular, about elevating your income, but also the impact that you deliver for the other people, those people that you want to work with, which we call our clients. So let's talk about that a little bit. Why are you talking about, scaling as one of the things that will keep us focused, but also at the same time, it doesn't matter where you are at your business. It is just something that you have to have. You have to have a strategy and you have to know how to scale. And that's got to be your focus point.
Absolutely. And what I find a lot is that people are afraid of numbers in their business. They're afraid to know the truth, what they think is going to be unhappy news or upsetting news. There's a lot of fear about like a commitment of not succeeding. So there's a fear of putting pen to paper and saying, I want this. I will achieve this. I think, especially for women, I find that it's really hard to have that boldness, and be brave and want to do that. And that prevents a lot of people from coming up with the strategy. And so what they end up doing is just doing more and more and more. And I know because I've done that myself. I think every woman has at some point in their life. And, that just continuing to do more and more doesn't get you different results. In fact, it makes it worse for your business. It might make you make less revenue. So really narrowing in on what's actually working and scaling that versus I need to make something totally new. Where people can be sensitive to, okay, I got brave, I made this thing, I created this workshop, and people didn't show up. We expect it to just kind of be like massively successful right away. And that's just not how business works. That's one of my pet peeves is that everybody's out there on social media like, I only work 6 hours a week and my life's amazing. And like, that's just not true. To get your business to grow and scale, you do have to work hard. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to work hard. But when you put a strategy to what you're doing, when you create that energy, it's moving before you even do the actions. And that's how you start to get massively successful, is when you narrow in on that one thing that's going to work for your business. So for me, the starting point is metrics and data and really knowing your numbers. And everybody needs to know this when they're scaling. It's not first you get successful, first you make a certain amount of money. You need to know the stages of scaling and you need to be aware of them as you're developing your business. In the beginning, you certainly do want to try out different things and don't overly commit yourself to one product. You need to figure out, what does your market want? What do they resonate with? And you need to keep data and information about that so that you can use that to help you grow your business and not just keep creating new things all the time.
I know. And as you were saying that, I'm shaking my head vigorously because I was there too. Oh my gosh, in the beginning of my business, I created courses and I created workshops and I created heavens know what else. I can't even remember how many freebies I created. At the end of the day, I was just in creation mode the whole time. I wasn't ever focused on, hey, now I need to start marketing maybe. Now I need to start focusing on building something, on actually signing up clients. And it's only when I started focusing on one strategy, again, I went back to my metrics, exactly like you're saying. It feels like you're talking my language today. I had to go back into my metrics and seeing what is it that is really working for me? Where is it going? And once I started focusing only on that one entity, everything else just started plugging in and it started working. And it's almost like you can say magic, but it isn't really, because all I did was I was focusing on one thing.
Yeah, I like that. I have a new client that I'm working with. I think it's a good example in here, who has a photography business, and she's had success and she's had some projects she's done, and she wants to have more reliable recurring revenue. She wants to know, where are my leads going to come from? And it's not a heavily online business. A photography business often is not. This person's not. It's a local business. And so, what I'm doing, it's actually a husband and wife partnership. And what I'm doing with them is helping them get clear on their metrics. And I share with clients that I work with, I share tools on how to collect that in a sort of a spreadsheet format. And, they're nervous about it. They're scared about it. They're not analytics expert. They're not online marketing professionals. And that might be a lot of people who are starting a new business or have a creative side. You might not be like that either. You might not have this massive online funnel set up. And that's okay too. It's still important to know your numbers. And so just last night, they sent me a spreadsheet of, I had them collect data on their sales that they had, and information about the people who purchased. And again, it wasn't like a download from a system they had. It was just a manual data entry. But they started to realize, what you think might be happening might not actually be the facts. I might think that people love that package I put together. But then when they went to look at their data, oh, actually, people usually only buy this package. And so that's an example of how knowing your metrics can help you make a decision, in that what you think might be happening might not actually be happening. And knowing that's going to let you say, you know what, that package is the one that people buy 80% of the time. And I'm very consistent with that conversion over the years. I should only market that package and save the other things as an add-on, make it less confusing for the customers. And so I think that's just one fun example of, you could be an online larger business and the same strategy and the same method applies. It's like empowering yourself to be able to make decisions. I feel super passionate about, there's so many things out there externally. I remember people used to say the answers are within. And I used to think, what are you talking about? What does that mean? I feel like I really didn't understand that. And I myself was like signing up for this perfect webinar script and, this other course and hiring this expert. And that's what happens a lot. We just keep like, let me try this, let me try that. And taking the time to tune into yourself and listen to your intuition based on the metrics that you have in your business, it's just the most empowering feeling that an entrepreneur can have, to know how to make a decision for yourself and not have to rely on somebody else to tell you what should you do next. And I'm just really passionate about women being able to make a decision for themselves in business and feel really good about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is the thing. We've got this little power hub that we're sitting on when it comes to your analytics and looking at your figures and things, but we're so scared of diving into it, of what it might reveal. But actually
Yeah.
it's like your power source, and that's the thing, literally, like you said, that's going to help you and guide you make certain decisions in your business, which is kind of like what you need, right? But we just don't want to go down there. We just don't want to go down that road.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of another client story. This client has a membership online and they have a membership. It's a lower cost. It's successful. It's really successful. They brought me in to consult, and nothing else on their online marketing was leading to this membership. So they had a free resource you signed up for, but nothing was connected in the funnel sense. Nothing was saying you signed up for this, let's send you there. It wasn't efficient. Yet it was it is a rather successful business. And what I did is help them create a strategy that has any freebie that's got signed up for goes into a free membership. Then there's an automation that after that free membership, hey, you just signed up. You want to get our paid membership for $1 for your first month. And it's been an interesting experience because it's actually a super high performing funnel. It's almost a 6% conversion rate of people accepting the $1 offer, but the owners look at it as like, that's only $1. Like, meh, I don't really like that. But after the first month, the price goes up to the full price. And so it's interesting to see when people aren't in tune with your metrics, when you don't know. Actually, if you look at the next set of data, 80% of those people are staying on to the full price membership. So that's actually a really amazing high performing funnel.
So let's talk about the three phases of, scaling our businesses. What are those three phases, and what would you like to share with us about them?
Yeah, so the three phases, the first phase is getting clear and knowing your numbers and your metrics. The middle phase is super important and one people like to skip over, which is creating a clear vision plan for yourself. And the third phase is the strategic plan. And so you really need to know your metrics, as I said, and that's going to be different for everybody. And I just like to tell people you don't need to be scared. You don't need to be an analytics pro. You don't need to be a huge business. Whatever your business is, we all have metrics. And knowing which ones are important for you is what's going to help you get to that place of having a strategy and scaling your business. In the middle phase, so for different people, I think in that phase, it takes time. And when you're starting your business, when you're trying new things, a tip is just start to create whatever your system is. Is it paper? Is it a spreadsheet? Whatever is easier for you. Having Google Analytics set up is super helpful if you have a website. So, it's really inexpensive to get someone else to help you set it up, or you can set it up for yourself pretty easily. And that just helps you start to record data about your website and visits before your business is at that more massive level. And then in the middle phase, the vision planning, I really like to help people think about all of the areas of their life. So you're a whole person and your business is a part of your life. And so getting clear on what you want as far as like your fitness, your wealth, your health, your family, finance, legacy, thinking of all those things. And what I do in the vision planning phase is help people think about, where do you want to feel like in 3 years? It's not right now, right? It's like, what do you want to feel like in the future? Because you have to create that vision and create the energy of the feeling before you can get yourself to that place. And then from there is where your strategic plan comes, because you'll feel so empowered. You'll feel so clear on what you want. An example is sometimes people, you might be doing a live launch in your business. That might be your business model. And maybe you have little children, or you have responsibilities to take care of someone else in your family or whatever it may be. That just might not be the right model for you, even if it's successful. So you have to put the two pieces together, knowing your numbers and then knowing what do you actually want in your life. And when I started this business in particular, I ended up creating more of an agency model. And I remember the moment where I said, I don't want to create an agency. People were asking me for additional supports. Like, do you have anybody who could help me build this quiz or make these website updates? And I remember to myself thinking, I don't want to do that. I don't want to manage all those things. And I ended up doing it, because it was like available to me. People were asking, and I ended up not liking it. I ended up realizing that it wasn't really what I wanted to do. It wasn't the best use of my time. And so I made that shift for myself. So it was just starting to know, like, what do you actually want? I didn't know what I wanted. So I just said yes to everything, and it made me hate my business. And, that's where you use your numbers and you start to get that clarity. So those are the three phases that I consider part of scaling: is starting to know your numbers, getting clear on what you want, and creating your strategic plan on how you're going to get to that next level.
Yeah. And they both, the phase two and phase three work beautifully hand in hand in a way, because we already spoke about the first phase. But, once you have that visual image of where it is you want to be, let's say in the 3 years' time as you help your clients, well, the best part is then you can start working backwards, right? And that's where the strategy comes in play. So when you have that idea of where you want to be, working backwards and start implementing stuff or putting things in place as to what it is that you need to do over the next 3 years to get there, it makes it so much easier. And that kind of forms that strategy, and everything just becomes so much clearer. And you can start diving into it, getting a bit more clarity about what that looks like. But I think as an overall framework, it is just a beautiful structure to just go, oh, this is what I need to do.
Yes, I totally agree. I was thinking of somebody I worked with, keep having these stories that are
Please
relating.
do share. No, I love stories. Please share.
Okay, great. I was thinking of someone I work with, and she does SEO work, and she has a son who's in preschool. So it's going to be, I think, 2 years until he's in full day of school. And her business, she's having really successful 10K months, so she's doing well in her business. Yet, she doesn't have all the time she wants to devote to her business. And we started working on her strategic plan. She started designing what she wanted, and she wants to up level and start to do some consulting. She's been an SEO expert for many years. She's a speaker for GoDaddy. She's so well known, and she wants to start doing consulting and up level in that way. But she started to get a little anxious about it. Left me a message on Voxer like, but there's something about this just being behind the scenes and checking off, getting the work done for people that's just really fitting in my life right now. And I think that's such a great example of like just honoring where you are and what is in alignment for you. Although that's available to her, although she could increase our prices, stop doing done for you work, do consulting. Now that's part of her plan that she wants to have place in 2 years. So now like you said, it's just that relieved feeling. It's like, it's okay for me to want to just check off boxes and get tasks done because that fits when my son's at preschool and I can get things done. And when she has that creative space, she's able to start thinking, wow, oh, what's that going to feel like in a few years? Like, I'm gonna have the whole day to maybe I could have those calls and consult with clients. So I have to say, it is super fun to see people starting to create their own strategies. I really enjoy that. A lot of my earlier career was creating the strategy for people, and I see such a power and an empowerment in helping women create their own strategy. And that's something that I've learned in my experiences is, it's much more powerful to help people come up with their own plan versus just saying, here's what you can do. Because, money can't buy everything. You can buy people, you can buy their time to do things for you, but you can't buy that feeling of confidence. And the more you start to make decisions for yourself, that's how you get confident, practicing. You practice. And so until you start having that confidence, you won't really be able to make the decisions for yourself. And that's why you have to start now before your business is where you want it to be. Or if your business is already at that place where you're happy with the revenue, but you want to make some changes, there's the opportunity right there. Start to get clear. And, for people who are having more success, it's like creating more space for yourself in your life, that white space, by not doing all the time in your business. Where can you cut things out where you can change them, maybe make some up level? So it's just really fun to see people at the different realms. And like, I like hearing about how it relates to their life and their stories. And I can relate to that myself as a mom and as a wife, and, just in life, having so many different things to manage. So it's really cool to see women going, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to do that right now. Like, I just love that part of it.
Yeah. And I think it beautifully leads into the next element, and to understand how to align your actions with your vision. So
Yes.
equally, I think that speaks volumes in itself, because I guess when you know what it is that you want, you know what actions you need to take, right?
Yes. Yeah. I talk a lot about it. I think I have a blog about hustle or anti-hustle, and this fits right in with that
Yeah.
conversation. It's like people are afraid to make commitments to themselves. You're afraid to like, what if I won't have time to get it done or I won't be able to achieve it? And we see all that as hustle, as the doing work. And for some reason, hustle is a bad word. But in other parts of life, you think when you were younger, you wanted to achieve something in school or a sport or, an activity, it was okay to hustle. And I like to help women know that working hard and hustling, it's a beautiful thing, and it doesn't feel like hustling when you know what you're working for. Instead, imagine having that feeling where you can't wait to work on your business. Like you are so excited. about this thing that you're creating that just feels so aligned for you, so aligned for your business. You see the potential for it. It's like, oh, when, in between clients, I'm like, when will I have time to work on that? I'm so excited about things. So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a part of it, is knowing that it's not about hustling, it's about doing the right things.
Yeah.
And Henriette, you said about, kind of aligning your actions. And that's a really important part of it. And that's the part where the fear comes in. It's like, I don't want to commit to it. I don't want to do it. And I had a client meeting this morning. I've been working with this client for a while, and she's just creating a quiz in her business. And she was so excited to see the first version of it. It felt so good. Like I planned that and worked towards it versus just showing up and doing any old thing every day.
Mm.
And what we talked about was almost creating that muscle memory for herself. She was just relying on her energy all the time to show up and do work. And, what I shared with her is that you have to have a system for yourself and a strategy you're following, because then you can always feel good about it. And you create that muscle memory where you're like, it feels good to work on my business. Actually, that makes me happy. And it's not, we're women, we're humans, we have hormones and other responsibilities in life. Like we are not going to feel high vibe all the time. And having a strategy is what really helps you still feel accomplished in a week. And you don't have to, it's not like, do I feel in a good mood today or not? Are things
Yeah.
going good in my relationship? Are things going good in my day to day? It's just like that strategy. You can shift it around. That's the cool thing of being a business owner. You can shift it around for yourself. If today's not your day, move it to tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. I always talk about inspired action. When you're excited about something, you want to go and do it, then go and do it. But if there is anything inside of you and you go like, oh, I've got to do this, and everything inside of you is fighting, then just don't do it. Push it to tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you got to
Sometimes,
have that strategy. That's the thing.
yeah. And sometimes that means something, like, when you're
Yeah.
feeling that way, I've had to learn that for myself over time, to tune into like, I'm not doing that for a reason. It might
Yeah.
not be the right next step for me, or, not to do it. I teach my clients, and I use for myself, what do I get to do today? What,
Mhm.
instead of what do I have to do today, what do I get to do today? And that just gives you a whole different perspective on your day and your life.
Let's talk about how you can make your decisions in order to know yourself that you're scaling your business. What is your take on that? And from your experience as well, I'd love to hear your experience, how you've done that.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you start to know your numbers, you start to get insights into your business. And it's just that moment where you don't just go take action and do something, you pause and reflect. And that's when you're starting to scale your business, when you're not just running around all the time checking off boxes, and you're actually being the CEO of your business. You're saying, what's the right decision? Like many women have these skills already, and you may have those skills about how you manage your own life, your family's life, relationships in your life, whatever it is. You may have those skills and know how to do it, but we don't apply it to our business. And so it's literally about creating space for yourself so that you can draw the insights and look at the information in a different way. I mean, you're a coach, I'm a coach. I always think that working with coaches is helpful. I have coaches that I work with. I'm sure you do. And that's a really supportive way to help you start to see information that we just don't see for ourselves. So for me, that's one area that's a big up level, is when you do work with a coach. They do help you start to see things that you don't. And that's how you know that you're starting to scale, when you're starting to think about your numbers, think about what you want, and start to make some decisions for yourself. And you'll know it when you're doing it, right? Like you've talked about it, like you
Yeah.
just know it when you're like, I'm at that next level. Yes.
Yeah. And it's a good feeling, but I think it does come back down to where you're in that position. Because let's face it, we're so evolved in our businesses that we can't sometimes see other perspectives. It's just the way we are as human beings. But working with a coach, I find myself as just one of those things where I'm looking at things and I'm going, but I don't know. And they go, what about this? And have you thought about this? And it's like, oh, how come I didn't see that? And you sometimes do ask yourself, like, how come I didn't see that? But I think that's the beauty of working with other people, coaches in particular, who can just help you look at things from another perspective in order to give you that freeing feeling, in order to go, oh, now with all this information, I can make decisions. And I think that's the beauty of it, because sometimes we're so scared of making decisions because we don't have most of the information, because we're sometimes just around here. But yeah, being in a comfortable position and a knowing position, making decisions for your business and growing it, why not? you've got nothing to lose. You've got it all there.
That's what it is. It's that mindset of like, you win or you learn something. And
Yeah.
like we were talking about before, things that just don't magically happen. Like there aren't internet fairies out there that just all of a sudden, there are some stories like that, but generally, people put in some serious work. That's why I like to say I work with hardworking business owners. I consider
Yeah.
myself a hardworking person, and I'm constantly looking at ways that I can have to work smarter and not work as hard to still support people and share the information I want to share and generate the revenue that I want to generate for myself.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's a balance, and it's about just like allowing yourself to do something different. If you want your results to be different, we all know that saying, you have to do different things, and taking those next steps is really how you get yourself there. And it doesn't matter if you're making a ton of money now or you're not making a ton of money. It's thinking about that and starting to plan for it. That I just wish there was a better word or way to explain it. I feel like I can see it and feel it, but I don't know that I have the words to explain how good it feels when you've made a decision for yourself
Yeah.
and when you're taking action on it. Like nothing can replace that.
Yeah. I guess, it's that sense of control. It's a sense of pride as well, where you go like, oh, I've done this, I've made this decision and I'm working towards it. So yeah, there's not a perfect word for it. I guess it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's like, and I think like celebrating your wins along the way is really
Yeah.
important. As I was saying, that, it doesn't just happen overnight. So there are going to be certain indicators as you start to look at your metrics that are going to tell you, oh, wow, this many people showed up to my webinar, or, oh, this many people looked at my page. Maybe they didn't buy what you wanted to sell, but now you've learned something. You've learned that
Yeah.
however you got people to that page worked. So that's one thing. Now, what do I need to change on this page? What am I missing that's making people leave? Well, what can I do to make this better? And that's just so empowering to know. Yes, it might not feel great if you've spent forever building something, but that's why you need to start looking at your numbers and go, how's this resonating with people? What's working? What can I do differently? And you don't need an expert to teach you how to do that. You can learn how to do it yourself when you get excited about that information that you get. And it's just another piece of the puzzle. You just put it together, and that's how you keep scaling your business.
Exactly, exactly. Oh my gosh, I just love having this conversation with you because it just makes so much sense. But I think what I love about this conversation is it isn't complicated.
Yeah.
I always say that for us as business owners, if we want something badly, if we want to grow our businesses badly, it's almost like we start overcomplicating things for ourselves because we feel it must be complicated to do or to get. And that's
Yeah.
not the case. And I love how you simplified it and just say there's 3 phases for scaling. This is what you need to do. And that's it. And with all this other golden nuggets you've given us, it just goes like, oh yeah, actually, it's not so bad. I can do this, and anybody can do this. And I find this is the best part, no matter where you're at in your business. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here and sharing this. However, before we finish, you've got an amazing quiz for everybody. Tell us a little bit about the quiz and what they're going to get from it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, it was a great conversation, and I loved talking about this with you and the positivity. And many entrepreneurs feel stuck and they don't know how to scale their business. They don't know if they should or shouldn't be, and what's the next thing to do. So I actually have a quiz. It's at kararenninger.com/quiz. I'm sure that'll be in the show notes for everybody. And in the quiz, it's going to help you identify where you're at in the scaling phase of your business and what you need to do. What are your next steps to help you move forward with your business? So excited to share that with everybody. It's a free quiz, so you can take it at any time that it works for you.
Oh my gosh, I'm definitely going to take it as well. I'm going to have a look at it. Thank you so much for making that available. So for those of you listening or watching this video, obviously the details for that quiz will be in my show notes below, so you can go and check it out, sign up, have a look at it, because I think, it's like we were saying throughout this whole episode, the more clarity you get of where you're at now and what it is that you need to do, what those figures looks like, taking those 3 phases, the more and the better you're equipped in order to grow your business. So take on this quiz, get that knowledge so you know how to move forward. But then also for those of you who would love to connect with Kara, by all means, her website details will be in the show notes, as well as all her social media details there. So you can go and connect with her on any of those platforms. But overall, I just wanted to say thank you from the deepest part of my heart. I really do appreciate your time being here and sharing all of this wisdom. It feels like we've got such a great connection. We're talking the same language. You know, there's so much that I think we could still talk about. We'll keep it sweet and short for everybody today.
Yeah, I appreciate that so much. It's really great to connect with you. And, it's just fun to be connected to other women who want to empower others and
Yeah.
really help female entrepreneurs be successful. So thank you so much for having me.
No, you're more than welcome. And then you and I will be in touch very soon again. So thank you again.